Hello and welcome back to another series, really, episode, if we want to call it that, of the Unstoppable Mumpreneurs Telesummit, where you can discover how to overcome any obstacle and achieve an amazing income doing what you love. Now, today we are very less than lucky, really, to have with us as a guest Jo Barnes. Jo lives in Thailand. When you hear more about Jo, when I read to you, and we'll be reading, I'll be honest with you, haven't learned it off by heart, but I'll tell you a bit more about Jo here. Jo is a mom and a problem solver and a globe-trotting entrepreneur. Her mission is to give action takers like you the knowledge, tools, and strategies and inspiration to build a business you can run from anywhere in the world, whether that be your kitchen table or a beach in Fiji. Now, Jo started her online business back in 2010 and hasn't looked back since. In the last 6 years, Jo and her family have lived in Europe, Australia, and Southeast Asia. They've traveled extensively chasing the sun across the globe. This is all made possible because Jo runs her entire business online. So as long as she has internet connection, she can work from anywhere in the world. Jo loves what she does, and she experiences daily the opportunities online marketing can bring. She loves to share her experiences, and she wants you to give you, the opportunity to make better choices because they have more money, more time, and more passion for what they're doing than ever before. Jo believes that living a laptop lifestyle is 100% possible for everyone and anyone who wants it. And the good news is you can do it ethically and with integrity and without hard selling. That's the beauty of today's inbound and social media marketing world that we live in. So if you love discovering new ways to fit more into your day, increase your income, and get more out of life, be sure to connect with Jo over on Facebook. Her Facebook URL there is Facebook, so http /facebook.com/Jo Barnes page. That's it. And you can check out her blog as well as http://jobarnesonline.com. Jo, welcome.
And the crowd goes wild.
Fantastic. Oh, Jo, we got off to an interesting start here, haven't we? And it just highlights what life is like working as a mompreneur, or, life as a mompreneur, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, just unfortunately, my little girl, my 10-year-old, is home at the moment, sick with some kind of flu buggy thing. So we Cheryl was very kind and let us get started a little bit later while I was dealing with motherly stuff.
As you do, and at the end of the day, the motherly stuff comes first. We love our businesses, but when our kids are unwell or need our attention, hey, they get it. We get that, Jo. Thank you for being here. I'm really pleased and honored that you can join us. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So we're going to jump in, and the first question that I'd like to ask you, Jo, as I've been asking many of our experts, is for you to tell us and tell the audience as well a bit about yourself. So you have a daughter, 10-year-old. If you'd like, you can share more with that if you'd like, and a bit about your journey to becoming a mompreneur and what made you decide to start a business of your own.
Oh gosh, well, the whole reason I started a business on my own was because I'd worked in sort of middle to senior management all the way through my 20s, and I worked very, very hard. And I've always been a bit of a workaholic, and I was doing sort of great things at the companies that I was working in, and I was increasing profit margins, and I was managing big teams and all that kind of stuff. And I just felt that, why was I doing it for somebody else? Why was I putting money in their pocket when clearly I had the work ethic and the determination to be able to do it for myself? So, I wanted to work for myself. So I was about 30-ish, 30, 31, I think, when I started my first offline business. I basically, at the time, I bought a book on how to run a business, and it cost me about, I don't know how much it cost me, something ridiculous. And I was reading things like Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki at the time. And I was doing some self-development, and I was watching lots of Tony Robbins and all that kind of stuff, and I was absolutely convinced I could do it on my own. So I set up an offline business, and I ran that for about 5 years, and unfortunately I did get hit by all the downturns in the markets back in 2008, 2009. And so my business kind of tanked, really. And really, it wasn't the market's fault. It was my own fault for really not having sufficient strategies in place to cope with the downturn. Do you know what I mean? So that was my first experience of the downside of business, in the fact that, you need to put in robust strategies and systems. Anyway, so that's all in the past. That the most important turning point in my life actually was when my daughter was 4 years old, and myself and my partner were at home in a very grey and miserable England, and we just said, God, we really want to travel. We both really want to travel. We really want to see the world. Life is too short. We want to experience and see new cultures. And so we decided we needed to find a way to earn money while traveling. And it all came about through some friends of ours who were doing online marketing at the time. And we went and visited them in Cyprus, and they wanted some house sitters while they were going traveling for about 6 weeks. So we said, yeah, we'll do that. And we basically just packed up everything, sold everything we had, and jumped on a plane with our 4-year-old daughter and landed in Cyprus. And we haven't looked back since. So we kind of burnt our bridges. We kind of made the decision, even though we didn't have a lot of money at the time. We didn't have a working business that was going to work for us. And we just sort of said, sod it, we're going to do it. We're going to travel, and we're just going to make it happen somehow. And so that's what we did with my little girl, bless her. And we, we haven't looked back since. And we were in a situation there where we had to make it work. We had to find a way to create an income using only our computers and the internet connection around us, which I have to say in Cyprus, by the way, is terrible. So it was, it's been challenging. It's had its ups and downs, but I think sometimes when your back's against the wall, that's when you're the most productive.
Absolutely. And you've highlighted there beautifully, Jo, another way of doing it. I think everyone who's been on this Telesummit so far has definitely had a different start with different people. And yours is actually quite intrepid, really, because you burnt your bridges, and it was all or nothing from that point. And when it's sink or swim, we realize we have to swim. Sinking is not an option.
Yeah,
I mean, you have a child. You have a child. Sinking is most definitely not an option.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everybody. I mean, you have to know your own personality. You have to know whether you're the type of person that can cope with that. And I've always been a bit of a risk taker. So, for me, it kind of suited my personality. But if you're not a risk taker and doing something like that is going to create a massive amount of stress, then I wouldn't recommend doing that, because I'm all about, one of my big philosophies in business is to break down all the barriers that are in front of you. Whatever those barriers might be, just because somebody else has done something or somebody else says something that works, if that doesn't work for you, then it's a barrier. So you have to do what works for you, and eliminate barriers. So if somebody says to you, in order to run a business, you need to pack up your job and get to it, but you're not the kind of person that can deal with that kind of risk, then my suggestion would be that you actually start a business while still working. Do you know what I mean? Even if you can maybe maybe start to go down to part-time hours eventually and be able to dedicate more time and stuff like that. You've got to, people seem to look at other people who are successful, listen to what they say, and then say, gosh, I must go and do exactly that. And yet exactly that might not work for you. So it's really important that out of all of these interviews that you listen to, you take you take the inspiration and you take the messages and you listen to the lessons learned and the experiences, but then you tailor it to your own personality and who you are, because there are no rules. There is no right and wrong in this game. It's you. It's what you decide to do, and it's what works for you. That's the key.
Jo, I really thank you for that. It is an absolutely precious piece of nugget, because I think for a lot of mompreneurs starting out, there's a minefield of information out there. Both very good, absolutely valuable, worth their weight in platinum, and then there's information equally good, but not suitable to all of us. And when we're starting out, oftentimes, I have definitely been there myself. You're listening to everybody and you try. It isn't so much that you want to be a Joe Barnes or whoever else is in the industry and really rocking it, as they say. It's a matter of trying to find what works for you, trying to find yourself in this massive industry. And we oftentimes take on board advice or information that's not suited to who we are, that's not suited to where we are in our journey, and not suited to the other people and circumstances in our lives. And God knows I've been there. I've been there, so I can speak to this. And you are right, it does add a whole other level of stress.
It does, yeah.
Yes, it certainly does. And it's a stress that it doesn't speed you up, it impedes. It impedes progress. So I thank you wholeheartedly for sharing that. It is vital. So I haven't said this yet to the wider audience. I've been saying it on all my Telesummits. But if you haven't grabbed the closest piece of paper, notebook, and pen closest to you, do so now, please, because all these interviews are chock-a-block, as we say here in the UK, just packed with information. And Jo's is particularly useful, inspirational, valuable. So please grab your pen and paper now, and let's take the notes we need and see, go with what resonates with you. So next question, Jo. What were some of these? So we know that you left cold grey England. You should have seen it this summer, Jo. I mean, it's been a blast, We've had heat wave after heat wave.
I've heard, yeah. It's raining here today. It's raining. Mind you, it's still 30 degrees, but it's raining.
There we go. There we go. I could live with that. Trust me, I could really live with rain in 30 degrees. What were some of the early challenges that you faced in the early days of starting your business, and how did you overcome them?
Oh my goodness. How long have we got? Okay, well, I think probably one of the biggest challenges that I had really over, I would say, where are we now? 2016. I started in 2010 online. And I would say probably one of the biggest challenges I had probably right up until the beginning of this year, actually, right up until 2016. So for almost 5 years of the business, is that I lacked true vision of where I wanted my business to go. I kind of went with the flow because my goal was to be able to make money while traveling. Yeah. And that was as far as my goal kind of went. I didn't really have a long-term vision of what I wanted my business to look like in, say, 5, 10, 15, 20 years time. And because of that, I ducked and dived. I changed my brand a few times. I did different things. I started out doing Facebook, and I loved Facebook, still do love Facebook, but I didn't want to be pigeonholed just as somebody who did Facebook, yeah? So I branched out into social media, but then I knew that I didn't really just want to do social media. Social media was an element of business. I always knew all the way along that it was the whole sort of concept of running businesses that interested me more than anything else. Wow. And being able to use the marketing tools available to grow the businesses. but I didn't just want to be Facebook, and I didn't just want to do social media and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of changed my brand and stuff over the years, and that hurt a bit. You know, there were times where I literally, you know, shut down a Facebook page that had 40 odd thousand fans on it to start a new brand, you know, or I shut down a Twitter account, or I, you know, so I was kind of reinventing myself really every couple of years, which is great if you're Madonna, you know, but not so good if you're trying to be trying to build a little business, you know, and trying to communicate a strong message to you know, the people around you. So I started doing some really great exercises to try and discover what I really wanted from my business. And one of my favorite exercises of all time was, and I now do this every year. I did it at the beginning of 2015, and I really started to hone in on what I wanted in 2015, but then I did it again at the beginning of 2016. And without a doubt, this has been my best year yet. And what you do, it's really simple. You just take a day out, just take a day away. You need to be away from everybody and anything. You need to be on your own, you know, and just get out, make sure you're not going to be disturbed. And then you just have to start thinking about any time in the future, whether that's a year or 5 years or 10 years, it's entirely up to you, the period you choose. And you have to ask yourself key questions like, you know, on this day, really imagine, get inside your head and say, it is this day in 1 year, or it is this day in 5 years time. You know, today is the 6th of September. So we're now on the 6th of September, 2017, for instance. Yeah. What am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? Who do I mix with? Where am I living? How much am I earning specifically to the penny? Yeah. So, and it's not just about, you know, oh, this is kind of what I want my business to do, or I want to earn more money, or, you know, I want to be slimmer, or I want to be in a relationship, or I don't know, whatever your hopes and dreams and wants are. This is about getting super, super specific and saying, you know, and saying, look, if money, circumstances, location, family, commitments, if none of those mattered, you know, if I had absolutely nothing at all in my way and total freedom to do whatever I wanted to do, where do I want to be 1 year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? But a more important question isn't just where I want to be, who do I want to be? Yeah, who do I want to be? Who, you know, what I mean by that is, rather than saying, oh, you know, in a year's time, I'm going to run a successful business and earn $100,000 a year, for instance, what you're saying is, in a year's time, I am going to be so confident. I am going to be the CEO of my company, and I am going to easily earn $100,000 a month. I am going to be seen as, I am going to be respected as, I am going to be the expert of, you know, whatever it is. But it's about just getting so super specific about what you want, and really clearly seeing that in your mind. And it has to excite you, because if it doesn't excite you, you're making the wrong choices. Do you know what I mean? It has to. Now, the fact is you may not get there in a year's time, right? You may have to do a little bit of, you know, ducking and diving along the way. It's not always going to be a straight line. You know, you've got A there, you've got B there. You want to get from A to B, but you're not necessarily going to just go straight there. You might have to do some zigzagging along the way. But the stronger that vision, the stronger that you really know where it is you want to be, who you want to be, and what you want to be doing, then all those zigzags don't matter, because you're always going to come back to the same point. But if you don't have that vision, then you could start zigzagging all over the place and never really know, you know, and that's why people give up, because they just lose a sense of hope, really. They're not entirely sure where they want to go. They're not entirely sure who they want to be. And I think the other key thing on this one, Cheryl, is I've told people this exercise before, and one of the questions I get back is, but Joe, I don't actually know 100% yet what I want my business to be. And I'm with you. I'm totally there with you, because that's exactly where I've been for a few years. That's it. I just wasn't entirely sure where I want it. So if that is the case, where you think to yourself, I can't really 100% visualize what I want my business to be because I don't know, then start with just you. who do you want to be? You know, who is it that you really, really want to be in a year or 5? Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to be earning more money? If you do, how much specifically is that? Do you want to be slimmer? Do you want to be more energetic? Do you want to be a better mum, a better dad, a better whatever, you know? You got to start with who you really want to be. Do you want to be the CEO of your own company, or actually are you much happier working with other people? Because running a business is actually quite a lonely job, you know? And so maybe actually you think that this is something you need to do, but maybe it's not. Maybe you need to go and get yourself in a group and start masterminding and networking with other people and saying, hey, look, this is my skill set. Why don't we team up and start something together? I see so many people in groups just working on their own and they're struggling, and I'm desperate. You know, I say, look, why don't you just pair up? Join up, you know, with somebody else. Maybe you're time rich and they're, you know, cash rich, and the two of you can get together because they're time poor, but you're cash poor. Do you know what I mean? So there's a little match made in heaven there. So there's so many different sort of paths and opportunities and things out there. The clearer and more specific you can be about where you want to go and who you want to be, the easier your journey is going to be. That was probably one of my biggest challenges. I'm sorry if I sort of went off on one.
No, not at all. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's one of the most valuable pieces we've gotten so far. It's super powerful what you've just spoken about here. You spoke about we call visualization a lot, but it's not just about sitting and wishing for and half picturing it. And for those of us who had anything to do with NLP, you know, we would have done some visualization exercises there. But this is what you have described is far more intense than that. It is about taking that time out without distraction for yourself and really creating that vision very clearly, very powerfully of what it is you want. And the thing about it is, what you've described there, when you do it the way you've described it, you know, you need permission from no one but yourself. You can take your vision anywhere you want it to, but, you know, make sure it's a vision that sits for you and excites you. There needn't be any, I think anyway, any boundaries. You know, we hear so much, those of us who are in the corporate world, and for me, I was in learning and development and organizational development, and we hear so much about SMART goals, and another piece that really stuck in my throat, because it is still so very limiting. If it's what you really, really want, you can really, really achieve it. Give yourself permission. You're the only person you need permission from, period.
Do you know, it's funny, I was looking the other day, I went looking, this is a strange thing to say, I'm digressing, I hope you don't mind, but I went looking for people who had achieved great things in their life, right, who had come from average backgrounds. Because all you ever hear about is rags to riches stories. So-and-so and so-and-so is, you know, and one of the reasons I think there are so many rags to riches stories is because when people have been brought up in a really, really challenging situation, they seem to have a bit more drive behind them to change their life, to become something else, right? When people like myself have been actually brought up in a very, very, you know, nurturing environment, lovely parents, didn't have anything too stressful happen to me, went through the normal stuff, you know, parents had a divorce, blah, 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 you know, all that kind of stuff, but still fairly normal, you know, not just normal, average childhood stuff. And I thought to myself, I want to go on a search for people who have had a generally average, normal upbringing and have been incredibly successful, And two people I found were Richard Branson, who had quite a nice, well-to-do upbringing, and Barack Obama. Who again, they both had their own challenges. They both had different things happen in their families and stuff like that. But their general upbringing, you know, was really kind of quite sort of, you know, average. As they you know went, and I think the point I'm trying to make here is no matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, whether it's an average or whether it was rags to riches or, you know, whatever your upbringing background is, the only person that sets any limits on who or what you want to be is you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Every time.
Barack Obama wasn't born he's going to be the president of the United States one day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it was something he wanted at some point in his life, and he went out and did it, you know. Richard Branson, who knew Richard Branson was going to start Virgin and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the simple fact is that we limit ourselves by rules and expectations and things that are happening around us, especially as mums. I mean,
Especially
oh
as
my
moms.
God.
Especially as moms.
The minute you have a child, there's a whole new set of expectations that you put on yourself, that people around you. How many times have I thought to myself, God, they must think I'm a really bad mum, you know, because I'm traveling with my child, because she's not in a stable school environment all the time, because, you know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, am I doing the right thing for my daughter? Da, da. And there's all these expectations you layer and layer and layer on yourself, you know, and you so much stress that you end up not doing anything and not going anywhere, just because of these kind of constant expectations. But you know, the simple fact is that we are limited only by our own mindsets.
Absolutely, and that's hard work, and that's a hard piece to become aware of, and it takes work to work through it, and it's ongoing work. You never arrive. You keep doing your work. You have to. Thank you again, Joe, speaking very, very eloquently to that piece as well. Now, I'm going to jump. I know we've talked about the early challenges, and you know, when we, in the second question I asked you about the challenges, you know, that you experienced early days, you actually said it was a challenge you had until the beginning of this year. So that allows us to go to the next question here, which is, what is the number one obstacle that you see holding mompreneurs back? And what advice do you have to offer them to help them overcome it?
Exactly what I just said. Their own limiting beliefs. I mean, really, that is the number one obstacle. I wish it was something technical. I wish it was something really easy and technical, because then it would be super easy to explain. But the simple fact is all of the information, all of the systems, all of the how-tos, all of the step-by-steps, everything that you need to go out and build a business or a career in any industry in the world is available to you. You know, books have been written. I mean, all you have to do is literally follow somebody else's career path who's done what you want to do, and you can literally go and, you know, replicate it. Yeah. So it is literally just your own mindset, your own self-belief, your limiting self-beliefs that are holding you back from, you know, being able to go out there and put that into action. And that's the key. That really is the key, Sharon. I am super big into action taking. I mean, that is if you notice in my bio that I sent you, I say my mission statement is that I want to help action takers like you to go out there and achieve, you know, your goals and dreams. Action takers. You have to be somebody who's prepared to go out and take action. And what holds people back is they have these limiting self-beliefs, and they're full of self-doubt, so they don't make decisions. They don't take action. And if there's something that the ladies and the people watching this interview right now can do, is to stop thinking about it and just do it. Because you can think and think and think and think, and it's never going to get any better by thinking about it. You're never going to. It's just going to go around and around and around in your mind, and you're going to talk yourself out of it. And the only thing I can say to you is, even though you're moving out of your comfort zone, even though you're trying something new, even though you think it's not going to work, one of my mottos is fail fast. Get out there, give it a try, and fail fast. Just fail fast. Even if you try and fail and try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, at some point that trying is going to succeed.
Absolutely. It's sort of a numbers game, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're going to strike, strike goal and goal, golden goal. At some point you will. Fantastic. All right. Joe, do you believe that anyone can actually become a truly successful entrepreneur?
That's actually a good question. And my immediate response, and if you'd have asked me that a couple of years ago, I would have said absolutely anybody. Absolutely anybody could become a successful entrepreneur if they really wanted to. I'm just trying to think of my response to that now. I think yes is the answer. I think yes is the overall answer. Anybody who really, really, really wants it can become an entrepreneur. I think that's what I want to say. It's that, you know, it really is down to your personality. And I feel that the one thing that people kind of miss out on is, you know, in being truthful and honest, is that some people just don't have the drive. They want it, and they want to be an entrepreneur, and they want to have financial freedom, and they want to earn the money, but they just simply don't have the tenacity. They just don't have the determination. And I think when people are looking to become entrepreneurs, they need to ask themselves, have I really got that? Have I really got the determination that when my child has kept me up all night, crying or not being able to sleep or whatever, that I am still going to put in a 12-hour day to try and figure out this new skill or learn this new thing and do whatever. You know, it's hard. It is really hard. Running your own business and becoming an entrepreneur in any industry, offline, online, e-commerce, online marketing, digital marketing, services, whatever it is that you want to do, it is hard. And I think that in this day and age, in the digital day and my daughter's walking across the lounge.
It's okay.
In this digital day and age that we're living in, I think the unfortunate thing is people are made to believe it's easier than it is.
Yes.
People are sold.
Absolutely.
People are sold a dream, you know. And there are simple strategies out there. There are definitely, there are some business models that are very, very hard. And there are some business models that are simpler to follow. But there are no business models that are easy.
I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly. It is about that personality, the determination to really put in the effort. It is not easy. Having worked 9 to 5, and having worked very hard at my 9 to 5s, they're far easier than working in my own business, you know, running a business of my own. However, this is far more rewarding.
It is far more rewarding. And
far more rewarding.
I suppose I think my message, just after being in the industry now for a few years, you know, and seeing the amount of people that I've worked with who have had the systems and the strategies, but just haven't had the tenacity to push through it. And I think what I find frustrating is that so many people then just say, okay, that's it, I'm going to give up, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm going to keep going down this same path and banging my head on a brick wall, but never actually getting anywhere. And yet, if you just actually looked at yourself in a mirror and said, you know what, this is my personality, this is who I am, this is what I'd feel comfortable with, this is the level I'd feel comfortable with, you could still achieve all your goals and dreams, and you could still work from home by getting out there and pairing up with other people who maybe have the skill sets that you don't have. People seem to believe that running a business is a total solo effort. And, you know, actually, if you feel that maybe you don't want to be at the top of the tree, maybe you don't want to have all the stress of being the top dog, being the top entrepreneur, there are so many social media, Facebook groups, LinkedIn communities, Google Plus communities, Twitter chats. I mean, you know, there are so many people online now across the world. You can get involved in so many different opportunities and projects and businesses without necessarily having all the stress on your shoulders. I know I've said that a couple of times now, but I just think it's really important that people kind of look at all the opportunities available to them in order to achieve the same goal, which is to be able to have freedom to work, you know, from anywhere in the world, you know?
Gotcha. Absolutely got you there. Now, we've been hearing a lot for several years now about work-life balance. And then more recently, maybe I might be late to this terminology, but more recently, I've been hearing more about, you know, I've been hearing about work-life balance. Now I'm hearing about work-life blend. Which do you tend to? I know your answer already, Joe.
I love these little terms that
I know. I'll ask it anyway. Which do you tend to veer more towards?
Yeah, well, there is no work-life balance. It's just a complete load of garbage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you know, what is that? I don't even know what that is. If you want to run a business and you want to run your own business, you're going to be working 24/7, you know, and you're kind of going to be fitting in your family around that. Really, I mean, that really is it. I mean, if you want to run an uber successful business that gives you the complete freedom to go and do and be and live anywhere, then you're going to work all the time, but you're going to love it. I mean, I love it. We love it. You know, we love it. And the beauty of it is that you're always around to go to sports day, and you're always around to go to the school production, and you're always around to be at the assembly. And you're all, you know, yesterday she wasn't very well. I was able to immediately pick up, grab my keys, go and pick her up, you know, and bring her home because I work from home. But the simple fact is there are going to be times on a Sunday afternoon when you really want to be out playing ball or whatever, that you're going to have to sit in front of your computer and work. And so I'm not saying, of course, you know, you've got to spend time with your family. It's really important to spend time with your family. But, you know, those times, God, try and plan a week. I don't know about you, Cheryl, but I've tried so many times, right, I'm going to work from this to this, and then I'm going to spend 2 hours doing this, and then I'm going to work. And it never works out because everything always takes double the time that it's going to take.
Absolutely. I start with the best of intentions. And yes, every Sunday night I sit there and I do my to-do list, the things that I know, more like a brain dump, what I have to do that week. You know, I try not to overwhelm the page. And then I focus on what I need to do on Monday. And you are so right. Everything takes longer. You know, I remember once listening to a super well-known leader in this industry, and he was talking about block time. And, you know, when he has to do any specific project, you know, he would block out like 4 to 6 hours in his day to get that done. And I thought, lucky devil. You know, because as a mom, I honestly cannot block out that chunk of time, you know, before the demands of my daughter,
exactly,
7, and other people in my life, you know, because we're not siloed, you know, we just aren't siloed entities. Life continues to happen around us, and we have to.
You know, but again, the beauty of this type of business is that, you know, you can work in the evenings, you can work whenever you want. You know, you just have to have the gumption or the tenacity or whatever to just do it whenever you need to do it. So, like my daughter, she has activities after school every night now. So, you know, I have to be at the school by 2.
There we go.
And then she's got swimming, and she's got singing, and she's got this, and she's got that, you know. And so my day, you know, by the time I've dropped her off in the morning and then come back, I've got maybe 4 hours. You know, there's no way I can build a business on 4 hours. So, you know, all of a sudden you have to work in the evenings, or you might go on holiday and the computer has to come out for a couple of hours in the mornings before you go and lay by the pool. You know, so the benefits are you can be totally flexible with your time.
Absolutely.
You know, the slightly negative side is that, you know, your work-life balance it's never really in balance. You're just constantly juggling it.
It's more of a blend. It's more of a blend.
It's more of a juggle. I would call it a work-life juggle.
Yes. So I'll include it as a third one then. Work-life balance, work-life blend, or work-life juggle. There we go. Yeah, but that's what it is for most of us anyway. All right. So what impact do you think being a mompreneur has had on your daughter, Jo?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. Now she's 10. I do get the "when are you going to go out and get a proper job" remarks every now and again, which is quite funny. I don't know. I hope I'm an inspiration to her. I try to. I mean, she gets fed up with me. She says, "Oh, Mum, not everything I do has to be about the rest of my life," because a lot of my things I say to her are, you know, a growth mindset. I try and teach her a growth mindset, and you know, try and talk to her about, you know, like at the moment she's at a challenging point in her life because she's got to do this big cross country at school, for instance. You know, she doesn't want to do it, and she's talking about how she's going to fake an illness and goodness knows what else. And so of course I go into the whole, you can't just give up things that you don't want to do because, you know, in
Jo, because it's what's it now, 6:30 in the morning, and she's still asleep. I bet you, if she was awake, she would have been in here just sneaking in a couple of times. So don't worry. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know yet. She's only 10, so we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I will have been an inspiration for her. I will tell you one thing though: traveling around the world has made her an extremely articulate and sociable girl. So she can really hold her own in a social situation, which I'm super proud of that. I really feel that as she gets older, that is going to do her so much good when she gets out there into the world and she starts, tackling the job market and stuff like that. Being able to, articulate things and speak really well and
confident,
converse and be confident and be social. I think that's just going to do her the world of good. So I'm really happy about that.
Great. And I'm sure you're an inspiration to her, because you would have had a lot to do with that as well. Fantastic. Great. Now, Jo, final question. What would you say is the number one habit, the number one strategy, and the number one insider secret that have enabled you to achieve the success you now enjoy? Achieve and sustain the success you now enjoy.
The number one habit is to do. Don't think, just do. Even if it doesn't work, you literally just have to switch off that part of your brain and just do it anyway. I mean, God, if I could, I almost would say, pick one thing every single day and just get out there and do it. Anything that really frightens you, just do it. Just go and do it. Whether it's posting a video on YouTube, go and do it. Whether it's writing a new blog post, go and do it. Whether it's creating a new list builder, go and do it. Whether it's setting up a Facebook ad and spending $5 to test it, go and do it. You've got to stop thinking, and there's got to come a time when you've got to stop learning as well. That's probably that would probably be my strategy. My habit is to take action and not think about things, just do them. My strategy is to learn from people who've already done it. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. It's out there. There are courses for everything. Don't do bright, shiny objects. Start with your vision we talked about today. Know where you want to go, and then go and buy the courses that are going to get you there. If you want to run a really, really successful online digital marketing business, go and find an amazing digital marketing course. If you want to be an expert in Twitter, go and find a Twitter course. If you want to run an e-commerce business, go and find an e-commerce course. They're out there. Make sure you find the good ones, not the rubbish, $7 dime sale, rubbishy. Go and find quality courses by quality people. You can Google people, you can look them up online, you can see them on Facebook, find out whether they're good people. But I definitely a pathway to my success has been the ability to go and find a course, and then guess what I do with that course? I take action on it. I don't just sit there and learn. You learn, you take action. You learn, you take action. Don't sit there and just let it rust on your desktop. You have to learn and take action. Learn and take action. So that's my habit. That's my strategy. What was the last one?
The insider secret, if there were any. There's not really a insider secret in 30
Do you know what? Seriously, the insider secret, I'll tell you the insider secret, the difference between the people who are out there and making a shed load of cash. That's another UK term, by the way, shed load. It's not a rude word. The people that are out there making a shed load of cash versus the people who aren't, is that the people who are out there are simply taking action and failing fast. I hate to let you down, but they are. That is it. I mean, that is it. You so many people say to me, Jo, this whole digital marketing thing, it's a scam. I've been online for 2 years. I've tried everything and I'm not making any money. And when I go back and say, what do you mean by tried everything? You can guarantee that person hasn't set up a list builder. They haven't tried Facebook ads to generate leads to their list builder. They haven't tried doing webinars. They're not doing anything really active on social media. They're not running a blog or a podcast or whatever. I mean, my God, everything is literally out there for you on a plate. And the opportunities are only getting better and I hate to use this word, but easier. It is easier to run an online business now than it was when I started 6 years ago, because when I started 6 years ago, there weren't things like lead pages and all these tools that make it super easy to create. You had to create your own web page. You know, you couldn't just go and have a web page that's literally already made for you, you know, and things like that. There weren't the e-commerce opportunities out back in those days. There weren't all the things that are here now. And that's 6 years on. Imagine in another 6 years, it's going to be even easier to do it.
Yes.
But when I say easier, simpler is probably the better word.
Simpler, yes.
Simpler, but not necessarily easy.
Yes.
So that really is the insider secret. Everything is there for the taking. You have got to take responsibility and go and take it.
Yeah.
That really is my message. Nobody else is going to do this for you. Nobody else is going to make this decision, take action on your behalf, and make this happen for you. You are the only person who can get up in the morning and decide, today I am going to go and do something, take action, make it happen for me, and move a step closer towards my goal. And then you do that every single day of the week.
I hear you. Fantastic. You know, it reminded of it reminds me what you just said, Joe, of something I read from, there was Jack Canfield in one of his books. And he said, you know, every day I think he said 5 things that move you closer towards your goal. And be that 5 or be that 1, to me, it really doesn't matter. It's about taking action consistently every day to move closer towards your goal. The big piece again being action.
Absolutely.
Brilliantly. Yeah. Joe, this has been a fantastic session here with you. Thank you ever so much. So we're coming to the end now, and I'm going to hand it over to you to tell the audience about your free gift and where they can go to find it. I know I alluded to it a bit earlier on, but yeah, over to you.
Yeah, well, just very quickly, one of the key things when building a business, particularly online, on the internet, well, any business actually, any business in the world, one of the key things it needs is customers. Yeah, you've got to have customers, otherwise you're not going to make any sales. And so one of the very first things I always advise people to do when they first start their business is to create a list builder and begin building an email list. Despite what people may tell you, email marketing is still very much alive and is still extremely effective. So you want to be out there, you want to be building your community and building an email list. So my free gift I have for you today is called the Ultimate List Building Bundle. And it includes a 63 list builders mind map, which is 63 different list building ideas to attract names and email addresses. It's got some tips on there as well on how you can use each of those list builders. Plus, I put some audio with it. So if you're somebody that prefers to listen, and if you haven't had enough of my voice on this, then I've recorded an explanation of kind of how and when to use each idea. So you've got 63 list builders mind map plus an audio. Plus, I've included a PDF checklist on your list building checklist. So step by step, what you need to do to go and create your list building funnel. Okay, complete with a list of important resources to help you do that. Once you have your list building funnel live, you're going to need to promote it. So I've also included 116 different strategies to promote your list builder, again, in a mind map. Please don't try and do all 116 at once.
There we go.
But imagine setting yourself a goal across 116 days to try one strategy every day, you know, something like that. And then last but not least in it as well, one of the key questions I get asked a lot by people is, once I've started building my list, what do I send to people? What you know, how do I nurture the relationship? So I have included my 8 email styles for profit generating email campaigns. So I have an ebook inside, which includes swipes of actual emails that I have used in various campaigns. I've split them into categories like the getting to know you category, or the sales category, or the, you know, more visits to your blog category. Plus a 6-day follow-up email campaign, a sales email campaign, which you can literally copy and paste into your autoresponder if you want to. You can use and abuse any of this information to help you go out there and start to build your list of subscribers and your community to help you build your business.
Amazing. Joe, that's an incredibly generous bundle, an incredibly generous offer that you're offering up to our audience, and I thank you. Heartfelt thanks for that. And with that, we're at the end. So you've got Joe's information. And Joe, where can they go? Well, I'll put all that information on the page, of course, for this Telesummit, so people know where to go to get this incredible list building offer that is so, just offers so much. The full package, really. It is the full package. Thank you very much. It's been a joy. It's been an absolute joy, a delight to have this conversation with you. You've added so much value. You've just so much inspiration, so much enlightenment, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your
Thank you.
for your sharing.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you very much indeed. And please just remember, just stop thinking, start doing, take action, fail fast, make it happen.
There we go. I can't run that off any better, so we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much, Joe. You take care now. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.